Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 505, we're going to finish up the Eldraine decks with Kenrith the Return King. It is kind of fitting that, it's the buy box, and he was kind of the main man of the set, if you will. And he's going to finish it off. Now, Kenrith, I really, really like this card. What I like most about it is you can encounter 20 different, pick a number, Kenrith decks, and they're all going to be radically different. Knights is a big one that a lot of folks do. Nobles. There's a lot of chair tribal or throne tribal I've heard of. But I mean, because Kenrith really does it all. I mean, haste and trample and +1 counters and gaining life and drawing cards and reanimating. I mean, that's all the things. He's a king, of course he is. So, let me tell you where I started from. I was like, okay, this is not a white card. This is a 5-color card, so. Yeah, there are certain inherent problems that come from running a 5-color in that, you've got some mana issues. If you're going deep in all five color mana symbols, then you're going to have to fix your mana some way. And so, I tossed around the knight thing and the noble thing and weird tribal or what have you, crown tribal I thought of. But so what I did, I looked at it and I went, okay, so he's kind of my card draw. And my pump. And he's whatever you need. So what about all of those cards that we can't play because they have all these different mana symbols in them? So I was like, you know what? Wooburg. He's got all 5 mana colors in him. We're going to do Wooburg. I don't know that I had done an actual Wooburg deck. So there was a few cards that, of course, popped straight into my mind. Was Fist of Suns. You can pay Wooburg. I say Wooburg, white, blue, black, red, green. The blue mana symbol has always been represented by the single letter U, hence the Wooburg. And this way it allows us to spend 5 mana for any spell. Kind of duplicated a little again with Joda. There again, you can't run Joda in any deck that's not all 5 colors. And then I was like, well, Celestial Dawn is... Now, Celestial Dawn is... it's going to be a problem later. But, I don't know, 2 cards working against each other in a 100-card deck, I'll deal with that, I just won't play one of them. But anyway, it lets you spend... essentially, it solves your mana problems. That's kind of all Celestial Dawn does. Well, it solves your color-specific problems. But then I was like, well, you know what? We're doing this 5-color thing. I love me some Door to Nothingness. Door to Nothingness, great card. It's got all 5 mana symbols in it. But there's a couple problems. One, it comes into play tapped. If I had another amulet, it would totally be in here because... I think every land I got comes into play tab just about. But the amulet would be a really good call for the deck, but don't look for it. It's not in here. But the other part is you have to sacrifice the door. So y'all have heard me talk years ago. I run a turbo Door to Nothingness deck in Modern. Actually pushed somebody through the door on turn 4. It was pretty sweet. But anyway, we play a multiplayer format, and while, yes, you can just push somebody through the door, well, they take out the door as they go. That's why I'm running Hannah to get the door back. Kind of works, and there are other enchantments and artifacts that we can get back to. Now the Bringer of the White Dawn will also get the door back. I am not running the Mindslaver White Bringer combo. That's I don't know. It's a little oppressive. I've got a bad taste in my mouth because I got locked out by it a long time ago But anyway, where are we at? Oh yeah, more 5-color shenaniganery. Uh, I run across. All right, I've been looking at this card since I pulled it from Ice Age packs way back then, and I've been looking at it, and I'm like, it's just so weird. Now, yes, it's got the cumulative upkeep of 3. So, I mean, 3, 6, 9, this is going to be a problem. And then it changes all of the basic lands mana symbols to their enemy colors. Now, it's similar to Reality Shift, or Reality Twist, but since Reality Twist is blue, it doesn't tinker with blue. It leaves blue alone and then switches everybody else. But it's also got a cumulative upkeep of 3. So, our problems here is, number one, it's going to mess up our basic lands. Box checked. We're not playing any basic lands. The only way that'll be a problem for us is with, obviously, the Celestial Dawn, turning everything into plains. Yeah, so if we've got one, we just won't play the other. It's not a problem. And then the other part is that cumulative upkeep. Eon Hub Eon Hub gets around that nicely. There is no upkeep step. Now, it does help everybody out that has an upkeep payment, but it also hoses all of those upkeep triggers. During your upkeep, if your opponent's got, during your upkeep, do something cool, it's just not going to happen because nobody has an upkeep step. Now, there is a card because we are running all non-basics. Feel of the Dead. I had another copy, so I put Feel the Dead in there because I'm like, well, just incidentally creating zombies is kind of not a bad thing. And, like I said, here we are at five color, so I threw the Golos in there with it to kind of not necessarily always go get the field, but to go get, I love that Golos is 5 colorless. And he can solve your mana issue to get the color that you need. And that 7 mana activation's not bad either. Okay, let's see here. Let's look at our, mana. Okay, wow, this is a lot. This is a whole lot. I wanted to use the banners from the... Oh, shoot, my mind just went blank. That's the cons. From cons. The reason why is because you can sack them to draw a card if necessary. The lockets are good, but the lockets only give you 2 colors, and the obelisks are good, but you can't sack them to get a mana. By the way, I didn't. I'm sorry. I realize some of y'all are probably listening to this. It was all 5 of them. Team Your Banner, Jeskai Banner, one for each clan. Let's see. Mana Geode, Chromatic Lantern, Manalith, Arcane Signet. I tried to use mana rocks that were any color, Darksteel Ingot, Kaleidoscope. Yeah, I know it just... Here's another one. A card that's going to place itself in the graveyard. You can spend 5 colorless to turn it into Wooburg. That's cool. And then your 2 artifact recursion is going to get those back for you. A pair of elves in Urborg Elf and Sky Shroud Elf, because they're pretty much the same thing. It's an elf that's going to tap for 1 of 3 colors. And I like the Sky Shroud Elf because you can do that with any of it. And since our commander is white, we're going to have a more need for white than any others. Heartstone, counting that as kind of rampish because any creature that has an activation ability, i.e. our commander, subtracts 1 off of it. So that's 1 colorless. Now, the Knotvine Mystic is kind of a weird mana elf. You can turn 1 into 3. Have Joiner Adept, which just solves the mana issues there again. All your lands become tapped for any color. That's kind of neat. Hour of Promise to go get it, any 2 lands. Zendikar Resurgent, play a creature, draw a spell, or draw a spell. Play a creature, draw a card that's good. Oh yeah, you get a mana double to boot. Animist Awakening. Now, Feyburrow Elder is in here because while not a 5-color card, or it's just 2-color, and it's fairly new. It's Eldraine. This Joker is going to be a 5/5, and it's going to tap for 5 mana, and that's really, really good. It's especially good with the Umbra Mantle if we can get it to produce 4 or 5, which shouldn't be a problem with the deck. It really shouldn't be. Oh man, I should have used the Nephilims. I don't know why I didn't think of that till now. Dang it. Anyway, with the Umbra Mantle, if you've got 4 or 5 different color permanents, hey, you've got infinite any color you want. This is pretty sweet. Speaking of infinite, I was by a store I don't normally go to, and I picked up a Painter Servant. Now, yeah, why is Painter Servant in this deck, right? It has no belonging. Well, the reason why, so we'll back up. Here, let's take this Painter Servant out. Reaper King totally belongs in the deck just simply because it is a 5-color, a 5-color creature. Rules tip, by the way, the converted mana cost of Reaper King is 10. Just so you know, for things that care about converted mana cost. Just in case anybody's running Rush of Knowledge. But run the Reaper King. So I was like, well, I'm running the Reaper King. Obviously it's amazing with Scarecrows. And then I'm also running the Scuttlemutt because it taps for a mana of any color. And then I run across the Painter Servant. I didn't have another Painter Servant. So I was like, it's kind of a Scarecrow. And it does kind of play with the whole color thing. And while 5-color was the theme, just colors, colors mattering. And I had a Grindstone just chilling in the binder from way back. So I was like, well, that works too. So you've got the Painter Servant Grindstone combo, but we still got this, Scarecrow thing. I threw an Arcane Adaptation in there so we can turn everything into Scarecrows. That's sweet, right? So I guess we'll just go down the list here. Brilliant Ultimatum. Now, I really like the Brilliant Ultimatum. Cruel Ultimatum, obviously, was the all-star of the cycle. If I'd have had one, it would have been in here. It really shines at paying 5 mana. Really even better, 5 white. But, it's getting to play some free stuff, and you can make a deal. You know what I'm saying? We have Okagachi, the Vengeful Kami. Now, I do apologize. Y'all know this is the part of that set I found some non-English copies that were really, really cheap, and I bought some. So what this is a 6/6 flying trample. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, if that player attacked you during their last turn, you get to exile a non-land permanent they got. So it's vengeful is exactly it. You hit me, I'm going to swing this at you, and, it's flying trample. There's a good chance it's going to hit you, and then I exile something. Our creatures here this is just a good, crazy, crazy mix. But we're going to start off with Knight of New Alara because that's the all-star here. Just giving all your creatures +1 for each color that they got. Hey, we're playing in with a lot of colors, Try to back this up so you can actually get in on that text box there. Etch Monstrosity is an artifact that we can't normally play with because, it's got all the mana symbols in there. And, it comes into play as a 5-mana 5/5 that you spend 5 to draw 5, and it's really good. Bringer of the Blue Dawn, of course, going to help us draw some cards. Fusion Elemental, just because it's an 8/8 and Transguild Courier, just because it's all colors, it kind of fits the theme. Yeah, this is the part where I say Coalition victory would have been sweet, but, you know. Quirn Dryad, you know, it's going to start small because we do need some early turn plays, right? We got to have some semblance of a curve, and it's just going to get bigger. Now let's look at some planar chaos, shall we? Vorosh the Hunter, because these are all 3-color dragons, and you know they're all 6/6 flyers. If we got the Knight, they're 9/9s, so that's pretty sweet. Oh, Vorosh, Intet the Dreamer, Numot the Devastator, and Teneb the Harvester. Side note here, kind of a historical reference on Brian. Way back when I had first heard of this weird format the judges were playing called EDH, it was during like Time Spiral Block, and I went, you know, I read the article. It was an article on the Wizards website, and I was like, this is so weird, and I looked it up, and I built a deck. I don't know what I was thinking. I built a deck and took it to F&M that week. Of course, nobody had a deck to play against me. So I went back home, and through the course of the next week, I built another deck. So I had 2, so at least I could get a game in. So I played one-on-one with a good friend of mine. I believe that was Derek, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe those 2 commanders were the two of the Planar Chaos Dragon Legends. I can't remember which 2 they were, but that's what started it for me. And what was that, 2007? Wow, yeah. Anyway, let's get back to Child of Alara. I mean, you know, sometimes you just need the panic button. And you need to ignore some creepy art. Siege Rhino. Megalanoth has Blample. That's what I call it. Blocking Trample. That's exactly what it is. Kresh the Blood-Braided. 3 colors. Narset. You want to talk about solving mana problems? Miss Narset will do it for you. Then we've got things like in Conflux, there was a cycle for each color of a card that had a Wooburg in the mana cost, you know. So this was the red one. I'm not running all 5, just running 3, because that's what I had. The World Heart Phoenix, the Paragon of Amisha, and the Flesh Former. Jinju of the Realm, you know, Enchant Land turns into an 8/12. That's really good. Conflux. Yeah, I know that mana cost looks very intimidating at 8 mana, but how much would you want to pay for a quintuple tutor? Right? Yeah, you got to show them that, you know, and here's the beautiful part. Multicolored cards are all the different colors, you know, so I'm going to get, you know, Hannah as my white card and Okagachi as my blue card. You know, you see where I'm going. All Sun's Dawn is the 5-card regrowth. You know, that's really good. You get one of each color. Obelisk of Alara, I am running just simply because I can. It fits the theme. You know, it's got all 5 colors in there. And I randomly have a bunch of these from the pre-release cards because back then, this was before every rare could be a pre-release variant. You would sign up for the pre-release and you would get one of the either rares or mythics. It used to be rare because, you know, mythic didn't exist till shards, but and everybody would get the same one, the date stamped pre-release card from since way back. And you know, I bought a lot of collections. A lot of people had these. I got a bunch of these jokers. Maybe I'll get lucky one day and they'll be worth something. Crackling Doom. You know, 2 damage to each opponent, and then they sacrifice creature, their biggest dude. So that's pretty good. And a Hull Breach didn't want to stay in there. Hull Breach is my last non-land card. Now, This is going to be kind of longer because y'all are going to get to see every single card because we're not using any basics, right? Yeah, that's right. So I think we will go through. Shoot, let's go through the tri-lands first. There's not. I don't think there's enough room in that box there to fit all the lands. So we're going to take out a chunk, set them right there. Go back to Ned. We got the layer lands from Plane Shift. Now I'm not running all of them, but they bounce in their land. The upside is they do not come into play tapped, so it is a tri-land that doesn't come into play tapped, so that's kind of neat. Turn the Drumar's Cavern and the Treva's Ruins. Then we have the Khans of Tarkir tri-lands in Opulent Palace, Frontier Biovac, Sandstep Citadel, Mystic Monastery. And then we go to Alara with their tri-lands. Savage Lands, Crumbling Necropolis, Jungle Shrine, Nomad Outpost, and Seaside Citadel. Then just, good old-fashioned 5-color lands. Cascading Cataracts. Here again, that just turns, 5 of any color into Wooburg, if that's what you need. Run that Crazy Command Tower, Transguild Promenade, Exotic Orchard, a set. That is right, all 10 guild gates. So we'll go through them. Simic, Selesnya, Rakdos, Orzhov, Izzet, Gruul, Golgari, Tamir, Boros, and Azorus. And then I do believe a set of the Lifelands. I don't know what they're called. That's what I've been calling them. Like the dub, you gain 1 life when they come to play, but they come to play tapped. Blossoming Sands, Thornwood Falls, Dismal Backwater, Windscarred Crag, Jungle Hollow. Are all these 2 words? Scoured Barrens, Tranquil Cove, Swiftwater Cliffs. I guess they are. Bloodfell Caves and Rugged Highlands. And our last land is Unstable Frontier because, we might need it. I realize it's the only kind of utility land in there, and it kind of does take 2 mana to get 1 color because you're tapping this to turn your other land to what you need it to be. So, I don't know. Maybe a thing, may not be a thing. I'm going to give it a try, though, because I don't think I'm running Unstable Frontier in any other deck, So that is Kenrith. I realize it is a super weird build. It's nothing that a lot of those cards are just super fun, and I don't get a chance to play with them because they're, you can only play with them in 5 colors. So that was what I did. Oh, everything's down there, isn't it? There we go. So that is number 505, Kenrith. Now, that is Throne of Eldraine is done now. I don't really, I'll be honest with you, I don't have a plan as to what set I'm doing next. I'm just going to go back and, to whatever I finish, and all. I'd like to go backwards, and just because I think I've only got 1 or 2 left from each set, But if I happen to complete them, yay. If not, then I'll move on to something else until I get the cards I need. Or, some of these here are, I keep pointing down here, you can't see them. Some of these, some of these I'm close to completion on, and some of them not so much. Like, I think I've got a couple that have, like, the non-basic lands I'll need, and that's it. Because I'm just, I don't know, waiting to be inspired, waiting to figure out what I'm going to do with it. But that's all I've got for right now. As usual, the deck list is on Archidect. It should be in the link right down there. I appreciate y'all watching, and voice is feeling better. It's still a little scratchy, but the chewing a little better today. I had chicken wings. So. Man, I love buffalo wings. Gosh, I do. Anyway, different. Chopping off top of my head, ain't it? But anyway, appreciate you watching, and y'all let me know what you think. But right now, let's all shuffle and cut.